Hello and welcome to Creator Talk. This morning I have Sam Johnson, creator of Geek Girl. And the big question is, whatever happened to Ruby Kaye? Am I saying that last name right, Kaye? Ruby Kaye?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right. And I'm joined by Sam, who's across the pond, as they say, right?
Yep, good old UK.
All right. And it's exciting because it's free comic book day. We deliberately Sam we were talking about this. There's some big news today with his project starting. So we wanted to start real early in the States and make sure we got early in the UK even. What time is it over there? 'Cause it's 7 a.m. in Florida right now. What time do you have?
It's 12:30 lunchtime.
It's lunchtime. So
Lunchtime.
why are we here today? What's going on with Geek Girl and whatever happened to Ruby Kaye?
Well, that's what's going to get answered today because we've got the free comic book day digital comic, Geek Girl, Whatever Happened to Ruby Kaye, where for those who followed the first mini-series, the ending was something of a cliffhanger, where we kind of weren't sure if Ruby was alive or dead. And in this free comic, we recap the climactic battle between Geek Girl, who was this hot college chick who landed this pair of super tech glasses on a whim, kind of fell into a situation where she had to step up against Lightning Storm, a new mysterious new big bad who took out Neon Girl, the resident superheroine. So Ruby kind of had a baptism of fire, and the climax is her trying to stop Lightning Storm, who has been systematically taking down points of authority where they live in Maine, taking out superheroes, taking out anyone that gets in her way. Ruby's out of a league, but she steps up, and we that's where we come in the free digital comic, which has a sort of edited highlights of the final confrontation between Ruby and Lightning Storm, and then we find out what happens after that.
Now, we're not going to give anything away on the program today, but I am just going to ask, as the creator, how much of a change is coming with the entire series, would you say? Is this something that's going to draw in new fans, you think? Is this going to upset fans? Like, as the creator, when you made this moment that's coming, what did you think was going to happen?
The thing with it, I think people will react to it in different ways. One thing I want to say is this isn't going to be a legacy comic, so keep that in mind. Other than that, it's quite difficult to say without spoilers, but I like to keep things unpredictable. So with the first issue of the new series, which comes out May 30th, things are going to be different, but things are going to get different again. So don't think what you know and love is out the window, but hopefully what's coming in you will fall in love with too. I think again, really carefully talking around this because you get what we're trying to talk around. When you get to the end of the free comic book day comic, that's where it gets revealed, and I want that to be where you see that. But there's a change to the status quo, and hopefully one that people may initially be a little taken aback by, but I think once you get into, you will enjoy. As I say, it's not becoming a legacy book, but Carlos, the artist, Carlos Granda, he's kind of has mixed feelings about that, in that what we come in with, he found he really enjoyed. So though I think I'm going to stop there because I've so far managed to skate on the ice without spoilerizing.
No, I definitely agree with you, and I think that's the perfect thing. I know what happens. I've gotten to see it, and my God, you don't. To your credit, you don't see it coming.
Yeah, I mean, I've really deliberately, I wanted this to be part of the free comic book day event, and I think being part of that is it gives it more of a, you know, a buzz thing than if I just released this free digital comic. So I want it to be an event, and for those that are new to Geek Girl, this is a great place to jump on the book, because you get a recap of what happened in the first miniseries, as well as revisiting the climactic battle and then going into the new stuff. So it's really good for new readers, but also I think will be, you know, quite a oh, I didn't see that coming for those that that were on board for the first series.
Now, I mean, where I'm in the States, I know Free Comic Book Day it's kind of big in the States, and it's really gotten to be something for us nerds and geeks who love comic books. How is it in the UK? Are there lines trying to get in the comic book stores? Is it as big over there as it is in the States?
It's not as big, but yeah, there are lines. I mean, I think the difference in America is people put more sort of bells and whistles on it. You know, you get more sort of cosplayers and comic shops doing like fun stuff in the stores. So it's a more low key thing, but definitely, you know, the key part of it, the free comic books, is you know, it's an event. And yes, I never see my comic shop even anywhere near as busy as it is today.
Yeah, I mean, I personally love when they did Free Comic Book Day. I remember when the first time I heard it, I'm like, are they serious? There's going to be free comics? Like, I got all excited. Like, it didn't make sense. I mean, the little wait, you're going to give me comics to read? But one of the things that I'm excited about is that indie creators like you are taking advantage of Free Comic Book Day. And that's something that's really started to come out. And I love the fact that you said you picked Free Comic Book Day to build awareness. How has that gone? Have you found people really happy with you picking Free Comic Book Day to release this? Is this something you've gotten people excited about and made it more popular for you and indie comics at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, I think just how much that is the case will become prevalent today. I mean, I'm involved in the Free Comic Book Day Facebook group, so that's as well as going to your comic shop, that's going to be a good place to go today, because there'll be free digital comics coming out throughout the day on that, which will be different to the ones you get in shops. So if you hit your limit in shops, you can still get more there. And the Geek Girl, whatever happens to Ruby Kaye, will be available there, and hopefully we'll have people posting their Free Comic Book Day pictures throughout the day. So that's kind of part of the event that I'm very much involved in.
Now that's awesome. I love to always hear, of course, that, you know, indie guys are getting the ability to get it out there. Which Free Comic Book Day is it? Because there are a few of them. Do you know off the top of your head? So I want to make sure people get the link.
It's the Facebook group. So if you go to Facebook groups and search Free Comic Book Day, it is the Free Comic Book Day Facebook group.
All right, good. So I want people to see. I know I'd seen it on. I'm actually probably part of it. Yeah.
I would have thought you would be, Rob. It's got Geek. The header pick on it is Geek Girl.
All right, so just go to groups and you should be able to find it. But you know how it is nowadays. There's like, here it is. There's like 1,000 groups now. There we go.
Yeah, but hopefully anyone searching for it, hopefully if you just put Free Comic Book Day groups, it should be the first one that comes up.
All right. Now, we were talking before we went on to, and John's joining us. Good morning, John. John's a fellow creator too. John, what are you doing for Free Comic Book Day? But with your project, this is going to start something new. So what is the timetable for that new mini-series? When are people going to be able to get the first copy of this new mini-series?
The first issue is out May 30th, and there's a link to pre-ordering it in the Free Comic Book Day. The Free Comic Book Day Geek Girl comic at the back of it. It's available digitally at Comixology, print in the UK, and in the US and international through Indie Planet. So yeah, if you go geekgirlcomics.com, we'll take you to it, and if you join the mailing list at geekgirlcomics.com, you'll get sent the free digital comic by email as well. So you can't miss with that, really.
Now, is it exciting to we've talked in the past, back when this show was called Spoken Sins. Is it exciting to see because I know that people are you've been growing that fan base, and I know I've seen people talk about it more and more as time's gone on. Is that exciting to see your pool of fan base growing more and more, because you're one of the relentless promoters of your product?
Yeah, no, it really is. I mean, I think what took it to the next level, well, a couple of things took it to the next level. The main thing was the collection, which is Geek Girl Volume 1 Lightning Strikes, which is available at Amazon. So obviously Amazon is a good place, a very accessible place to go. And also the Kickstarter we did really raised. I mean, the Kickstarter I didn't use in the conventional way. I did it to get, rather than just giving my publisher pulling a number out of the air for how many books I wanted, I used it primarily to get pre-orders on that, so that I had a better idea of how many to order, and that went really well. And also we had, you know, the regular comics and limited editions and all that available on it as well. So that, I think that made a good impact in raising the profile of the book. And yeah, I mean, it's something I really want to build and build. So, because we've got, you know, the second mini series about to come out, which is, you know, I've consciously made completely accessible, largely helped by the free comic book day book. And then the intention is for the third mini series to be, well, for it to not be a mini series, if I can build the audience enough to justify it being ongoing. That's what I want to do, because these are characters and a universe that I'm really invested in. And I think with where Ruby is at when we go into the new miniseries, it really sort of shows that, you know, we've really established a world here, because of the situation she's in. The other characters get time in the spotlight, and I'm really pleased with what I've created. It sounds like your dog is too.
Oh, my sister just got home from an overnight shift, and my dog went running to say hi. But one of the cool things that I always liked about your project when we were talking about it is that you already had people cosplaying for it, and actually put someone on a cover of your Zero book during the Kickstarter.
Yeah, well, the Zero book was my friend Amy who just made that costume off her own bat. She's into cosplay, but I didn't even ask her to do it. I didn't know she was doing it. But there have been a couple of people cosplaying, like back in the day when we had issue 0, a lady that does like a burlesque show did it as Geek Girl. So that's good to see. And I know people have talked about it, that, you know, the look is something that I think chimes with people. I think girls can connect with it, and yeah, it's you know, it's hopefully an iconic image that, you know, the glass, you know, the kind of what makes Geek Girl different is that it's a flip on your typical nerd becomes cool superhero thing, in that it's cool kid becomes uncool superhero, because these glasses that give her powers due to a chip in them that feeds into the brain have a glitch in them, which the initial thing that happens is they make her super klutzy. So when she's trying to and this is because she's not used to the strength that she's being given, so when she's trying to impress her cool kid friends, she ends up knocking drinks over them, alienating them, with the exception of Summer, who's her best friend and who is the one that's into comics and superheroes. Her dad's a comic book geek, and it's Summer that drives Ruby to become a superhero and to use it in that way that she probably wouldn't have done otherwise. And their relationship is absolutely central and at the heart of the book. Like, whereas all other friends have been alienated, Summer is right behind her. But what's going to be interesting in the new series is the other friends, such as Karen Carpenter, who's like the arch bitch of the clique, they didn't take this whole superhero thing seriously. They were incredulous about it, and you know, they felt Ruby was acting like a dork, and they distanced herself from her. But you know, now Ruby has very publicly stopped lightning storms, saved the city. So she's a big deal now, and these are the kind of kids that want to be part of what's popular. So we're going to see quite a seismic shift in the way they had been approaching Ruby to the way they're going to be now. As we see in the free digital comic, Stacy, who was involved in getting Ruby the glasses in the first place, which they did by kind of getting the resident college brainiac Trevor Goldstein, who'd invented them, him and his buddy Jeff, drunk and beating them again at strip poker in order to win them, taking advantage of the inverted commas horny geeks. Stacy, you know, always had a raised eyebrow about the whole thing and just sort of went on because she was drunk, and then Ruby alienated her, and now she's right back there. She's in the hospital where we find Ruby, which again, I'm conscious I'm not going to say too much about, but we do in the free comic book day, but find Ruby in hospital. Stacy's there visiting her and is trying to sort of, is talking to her and is trying to bring things back. And, you know, kind of Stacy was involved in the creation of the superhero Geek Girl, but then completely distanced herself from it and is now trying to bring herself back into the frame now that Ruby Kaye is this big savior of Maine.
Now, I mean, that's a definite, like, huge world setup of, like, a lot of women and the way that they interact. Have you found the feedback to be positive with the character? Like, what has been the feedback in this generation that we're living in right now with how you're treating a female character? Because I know as someone who writes a female character, I get comments on it, how the character interacts at times. And I've been lucky enough that none of it's been negative at all. And I don't think you've received anything negative because of the way that you handle it. How has the reception from female readers been for your book?
It's been great. I mean, initially well, there's something that comes up on occasion, and this isn't specific to female readers. Is the thing is, people that haven't read the book and just sort of see the image and, oh, it's Geek Girl. Well, this is, you know, this girl is like super hot. She's not like a typical geek. Why is she a geek? Just because she's wearing glasses. But the thing is that's the thing, is Ruby isn't a geek, but the changes will come about with Ruby, and the glasses are affecting her in ways that she's not necessarily aware of. So Ruby Kaye, as she comes in, is not a geek, is this, you know, super popular hot college chick, but things change. And also the Geek Girl label was put on a kind of as a joke by Summer. So again, Summer's kind of instrumental in all of this. So yeah, it's a flip on the Clark Kent, Superman, young Peter Parker, Spider-Man thing, but there is some depth that may not necessarily be all that readily apparent in terms of why it's Geek Girl. However, having said that, let's not forget the very hot geek chicks that love to cosplay, and you know, I think that the image of what's a geek has certainly changed. So I think possibly expecting a geek to be a certain way, it's a little outmoded now. I mean, you know, if you look at the Big Bang Theory, you know, these are attractive people, and it's, you know, geek has evolved.
I definitely agree with you. I remember there was a point where growing up as a teenager, I was always like a metalhead and alternative. And then, you know, grew up a little bit, had to cut the hair for work. You start dressing a little bit better because you've gotten older. And suddenly you'll have people being like, wait, you're into comic books? You don't look like a geek.
Yeah.
Definitely that thing growing up where it was like, you felt like people were trying to strip away you being a geek, like you'd been picked on so long, and suddenly it got popular and people tried to taking it from you. It's like,
yeah.
No.
No, I think as I say, you know, there is, in terms of what we think of traditionally as geek, that it is there, and then this will also, as I say, and that's a lot to do with the effects the glasses have. There's, I mean, when we see what's going on in issue 1, you'll see a note, you'll notice, and it's all quite subtle, because the main character isn't aware of the, because of the sort of wrong wiring in this tech, what impact it's having on them. But there's a difference in the way they act when they've got these glasses sort of feeding into their brain. So there is that. But also, as we say, Geek has evolved.
Yeah, I mean, it's not what it was, and that's a good thing. I hate people who judge people and who have to put labels on. You know, with my project, Fetish Babies, I get a lot of comments, and like you said, if people don't read it, that's the one and only time I get mad. If someone's trying to donate and put the energy into reading it, I'm all for criticism or hearing anything. But if you're reading my title or looking at a picture, I have no time for you or energy for you, because you have to read it. You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
With your book, to your credit, I've always liked the fact that it's kind of embraced exactly what we deal with in our culture. And that's why I wanted to bring it up with you, is that this is a character who is used to being the pretty girl who probably would dress up any way she could to get attention. So it all made sense, and you did such a wonderful job with that.
Thank you. And yeah, I mean, going back to what you're saying about the reaction to the female characters getting away from the geek element, I think, you know, something that has been said is that it feels quite real. Like in issue 2, a big part of it was sort of Ruby and Summer trying to sort of get their head out of the situation that Ruby was now in, and the danger she was in, and just go and, you know, be college girls and get drunk. And their interaction, I think it was, you know, received as, you know, realistic, and I think that adds to the appeal of the character as well. It's like when she's up against Lightning Storm, she's scared. This is not, you know, a woman of steel. She's doing it because she has to, because if she doesn't, people will die. So she's not, you know, this is not Miss Indestructible, as is very much made clear by the climax of the first miniseries, which we revisit in the free comic.
Now, one question I have, and maybe this will come up later, so if it is going to come up later, remember, I've read the book, so of course I always ask questions based on just being a fan of it. What were the boys ever going to do with the glasses? I don't remember them. Like, is there, I guess I'm asking without spoiling it, are they going to be back trying?
Well, what happened with Trevor, who came up with the glasses, is, again, this being a kind of subversion of the traditional sort of Clark Kent Superman thing, is he initially created these glasses because there was this waitress he'd been like hopelessly crushing on, Mariella, who had a boyfriend who was, you know, kind of buff and that, and he felt he couldn't compete, and he was, you know, he in his kind of slightly twisted mind came up with this idea of if he became like a super dude, then she'd fall for him. So the intention was he'd made these glasses for himself, and you know, become like, you know, like become the sort of Clark Kent, becomes Superman route, and win her over. And then obviously alcohol and being horny led him astray, and he lost them to Ruby. But what happened in the first miniseries is they wanted, well, him and Jeff had these kind of prototypes, which were shades that had a similar effect and gave them flight powers, and they went after Ruby to get the glasses back. But when they saw what she was up against, the devastation, the death surrounding her that Lightning Storm had been causing, then they were like, right, okay, that's a bit too much for us. So they let Ruby keep the glasses, because, you know, they weren't capable of stopping Lightning Storm. They didn't, you know, they weren't prepared to even countenance the idea of that. So the thing is, the offshoot as well of it, though, is that the girl that Trevor was crushing on, that he doesn't even really know, Ruby has now become really good friends with because of a situation she got involved in, involving this villain, Mr. Mashup. And so yeah, they've bonded, and we'll see her coming back in the new series as well. In fact, that's an interesting part of the dynamic. Is she's, you know, she's straight. She's not one of these bitchy, two-faced characters like Ruby's clique. And when she goes to visit Ruby in hospital and all that clique are there, she's, as in her words, made to feel about as welcome as a turd in a swimming pool.
I mean, I love the and I can't say anything about what I know, but I love the fact that you've mixed these characters in such a wonderful way, and that their interactions have so much to explore going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, you know, the high concept of Geek Girl is mean girls meet superheroes. So the mean girls element is always you know, a integral part of what's going on, and that Ruby's relationship with, and changing relationship with her girlfriends. And yeah, that's something I want to explore more. Again, partly why I want to get into an ongoing series like Karen Carpenter, who's, you know, the kind of leader of the clique, and very acid tongued. I want to get into sort of why she is the way she is. Yeah, if we can get to the point where this becomes ongoing, there'll be room to explore things more. As I say, I'm interested in, you know, not just Ruby, but the characters surrounding her, and the other superheroes as well, like Pitbull, the jock superhero, who fights, almost literally fights crime with a brewski in one hand. And he's back for the new issue 1, and will play a slightly different role, play a kind of mentoring role, and he's always fun to write. And then we've got the what's happening in the new miniseries after the events of what we see in the Free Comic Book Day book. The damage Lightning Storm has caused, taking out police stations, taking down superheroes. There's a kind of void in the crime fighting elements in Maine, and we're going to see this new bunch of criminals, the League of Larcenists, coming in, trying to clean up. And they're a quirky bunch of individuals. We meet one of them, Terry, in the Free Comic Book Day book, and it's a fun dynamic with them. There's a lot of inner conflict. Pighead is the leader, who's this guy who's got half a pig's brain fused to his human brain. And him and Terry, because Pighead is, you know, they've invested in this, they want this to be this really slick operation. They've got like super tech, they're going to pull bank jobs and nothing's going to stand in their way. And their aim is to grow from being the League of Larcenists to the Legion of Larcenists. So they're building their reputation, they're wanting people to be all in on this. And Terry is kind of half in because he's got a wife and kid, and he doesn't live in Maine, and is a little bit wishy-washy. And this is a great cause of conflict between him and the other members of the league. And when Pighead is coming up with code names for them, and they're struggling to think of what to call Terry, someone points out that, having had a conversation with him, that he was on about his wife has made him had a vasectomy lately, so they come up with the moniker Numbnuts for him, which obviously he loves. So it's an interesting dynamic there, and we'll, as I say, we'll grow in number. We'll be introducing as well another member, Chromex, who's this quirky robot who kind of talks sort of a weird sort of pseudo street way. Him and Terry are going to form a relationship because, well, it and Terry are going to form a relationship because Chromex kind of falls into the situation. He's not entirely convinced. He doesn't like the way Pighead's running things. So that whole thing. Oh, and then there's another Mongo, another member of the league, has got the hots for this Hispanic chick that's in the group. There's a lot of stuff going on with that, and it's going to be fun to play with.
Now, one question, I don't know if I ever asked you this the first time we talked. Why would you pick Maine? being from the United States, like you hear Maine and you're like, do things happen in Maine? So why?
But that's exactly it. It's I wanted somewhere that wasn't, you know, New York, where you've got, you know, you're bumping into Spider-Man and Iron Man, but wasn't like a really small place. It's this sort of middle area where you've the whole superhero thing is established, but they've only got two superheroes, Pitbull and Neon Girl. So that kind of puts, when both of those get taken off the map in issue 1, that puts the, you know, the responsibility on Ruby. So that was an essential part of the whole thing, because, you know, if it was, you know, Marvel's New York and there's, you know, hundreds of superheroes running around, then, you know, Ruby could just kick back and let them get on with it.
Well, that makes sense, because that forces her to actually become the hero.
Yeah, it's the no one else can do it. This is it. She needs to step up or people are dying.
Well, that's very good. I think that we're going to end this show now because we have managed not to give any spoilers away.
Yeah, well, high five.
And,
but yeah, go get the you know, the free digital comic Geek Girl episode have ever happened to Ruby Kaye is available now at geekgirlcomics.com. and the Facebook free comic book Facebook group, and you can get to the end on your own and see exactly what we've been skirting around for the last half hour.
All right, guys. Well, I thank Sam for his time. Go out there and enjoy Free Comic Book Day. Make sure to check out what did happen to Ruby Kaye. All right, guys. We will talk to you later today. All right, hang out for a minute. Sam, I'll be with you in a second.